Hi. How is y'all doing today? Let's take this down. We'll get started at 5 minutes. It's nice and clean. Oh, Jesus, I missed that. Okay, 5:30 then. Just trying to look at my notes. Hi, Connie. Hi, Emily. Hi, Sarah. Here we go. 5 seconds. Hey, guys, it's Wahima, but just call me Wah. Melanated! Welcome to my recap of Love is Blind Season 4, episodes 6-9 recap. My name is Wah. I do recaps of relationship reality TV shows such as Love is Blind, Love After Lockup, 90 Day Fiance, Married at First Sight. Not really. So if you are at all interested in that content, please go ahead and subscribe to my channel. And if at any time during this you get the hee hee ha ha's and you want to give your girl a tip, you can do so with the way scrolling on the bottom. If you are an international girly and you can't do that, if you go next to the thumbs up button, a couple of buttons over, there is something called a thanks. You can do that, and that would be lovely. Otherwise, sit back, relax, get your beverage, start cleaning your home, do whatever you want to do, and let's talk about Love is Blind recap. Season 6. I said 4, didn't I? Season 6, episodes 6-9. I'm gonna tell you right now, I didn't take the greatest notes, so we're just gonna go off the dome. And if there's anything I miss, go on ahead and drop it down in the comment section and let me know so that I can start talking about it. Okay, so the couples, I believe, are leaving paradise, right? Is that where they are? They're leaving paradise. And Kenneth and Britney are very interesting. Kenneth is an interesting person. He's an interesting person. So the first thing that I remember with them is that they're having a conversation. He brings up AD, Kenneth, and he's like, "Yeah, I had a conversation with AD, and AD was concerned that, you may not understand like what all it would take to raise Black children should we get there." And Brittany's like, you're right. I don't understand exactly what your experience is. But I have dated Black men before. And so we have that whole thing where she's trying to prove to America that she would be a fit mother of a Black child, which I don't doubt that she would be. I actually really like her and her approach. And I thought, if anything, these two would make it. But he is an introvert, and he it doesn't understand what is needed in an accelerated process. I could tell that he was going to be a problem when he got back to his phone. I mean, when he got home, he was like, "Oh my god, I'm so happy to be with my phone, so I can talk to my peoples." And it just feels like his world is just in this phone, y'all. It is in that phone. Don't talk to Kenneth when he has the phone out, because he might be sending an email or he might be playing Candy Crush. We don't know. So they have that like conversation. He, talking about that like he needs to be pro hi Renee, he needs to be confident, and that he's pro Black and like all these things. And I'm just like, I don't think that he could ever help her get anywhere, because he doesn't know. He's just an introvert, and he needs to check out sometimes, and she needs constantly to be checked in on, like um so then we've got Chelsea and Jimmy. They end up making up and they kiss. And he says he's sorry. And this is after she is upset at him for not paying attention to her at the bonfire that they had, the inappropriate bonfire in which a lot of the men objectified and the women objectified AD's body, like with the comment about the slapping of the titty and the comments about her butt. Like it was, it's a lot. Mhm. So I think at this point they're still in paradise. If my memory serves me, they're still in paradise. So then we cut to Clay and AD where they're eating food and this man is gobbling down this soup. Now, the soup looked delicious, Clay, and I wanted some of that soup, but AD was looking at him like he ain't have no table manners. Listen, the soup looked good. Now, I don't know what the weather was like, so I'm like, whatever that soup is, it must be so delicious that it defies sitting outside in the heat of paradise, even though there was a good breeze and eating soup. It's hot. It's hot. I mean, I went to Costa Rica and had some fries and I was very upset. I was like, just give me I want a cold octopus salad. Like, I cannot eat hot things when I'm hot. And I didn't used to be that person, but now my face just starts to sweat. So unfortunately, I'm that person now. And so during this conversation, he gets quiet and she's like, "Hey, what happened?" And he's like, "Nothing. It's just like a big deal though, like marriage. Dang." And she's like, "Mm, yes, that's why we're here." Um, and so he says that, "Listen, I don't know if I'm worried about cheating on you because my dad's like a real suave guy, and yeah, I don't know if I can handle that." I'm like, oh my gosh. So then we cut to Laura and Jeremy. And they had a little tiff the night before because Jeremy made a comment to AD about her body, the bean dip converse thing. And Laura is like, "I said that to you in confidence. Like, I need to better know that the guy I'm with, if I say something to you in confidence, that you're not going to go and say that inappropriate thing to the girl. Like, I just need to know that that's not gonna happen." He's like, "I felt so stupid afterwards. Like, I realized that I messed up. And in that moment, like, all I wanted to do was just kind of run away from it. And so, yeah, I know that ignoring you and not talking to you wasn't right, but like, that's how I react to things." And all I thought was, wow, these people need therapy. None of these men, and some of the women too, are ready to be in a relationship with somebody where they have to be open and honest and vulnerable and they can't just go back and rest on their laurels and go back to their normal pattern of behavior. It feels as though these men did not sign up for this show, but that casting pulled them from another show that they signed up for, because it is very confusing. It's giving Paige and Chris from Married at First Sight season 8 or 6, one of those two. It is giving like, you don't want to be on this show, because it's very odd to me that you applied to a show called Love is Blind that has a 6-week turnaround before you're supposed to get married to somebody. And 3 of those weeks you're in isolation. So you jumped on this show and then you happen to find a love match and get picked to go to the island and have the honeymoon. And because this is all moving too quick for you, you are regressing and behaving like you didn't sign up for a show. You didn't sign up for this. I just it is hard to watch because I just wanted the show to be good. Season 1 was so good, you guys. Season 1 was so good. And I know it had to evolve. I know it did, but I am frustrated. I'm frustrated with it. It's just so inappropriate. So inappropriate. Denise W says about the bean dip. Why did Laura say AD would know what that means if Laura meant for him not to repeat it? Who bloody knows? Who bloody knows? But the fact that they just objectified this black woman's body without any qualms. She's not the first person to come on here with a banging body. Like, no qualms though, to just be like, "Hey, it's funny. Let's slap her titty and, oh, look at that ass." Like, it's just so wild. I mean, it's not really, but you know. So they end up talking about uh Laura and Jeremy about the incident, and he says that he's sorry. Um, I really liked Laura's hair in this scene. She had it up halfway and then the bottom, and then she put rubber bands every couple of inches or every inch, and I thought it was really, really cute. So, um, Then we have Amy and Johnny. So Amy and Johnny are riding horses and they picnic. And it feels like they're just so in love that it's borderline boring. It's borderline boring. They're so in love. I ended up fast forwarding through a lot of their segments. Just like great, great, great. Happy for you. Isn't that such a I'm mad at the way that that people are behaving on the show, yet when I actually have somebody who's in love, I'm like, I don't want to watch it. Um, but they have a little bit of drama that happened later on. Lynn J, hi, I haven't seen you in so long. Um, they have a lot of like a lot of not a lot, one point of contention that I'll talk about later on. So Brittany and Kenneth go on a boat. And I think that Brittany expects Kenneth to like talk to her during this moment, and he's not because he's just looking at the scenery. He has nothing to say. And she is like tapping her hand on the side of the boat. And listen, I feel like it might be noisy. So I don't know if she wants him to yell at her, look over there, look over there. Isn't that cool? And he's just like taking it all in. And then we find out that he's been swimming with the dolphins before. And so we think that they're gonna go swimming with the dolphins, but then they don't. Did we not think that? They show a little swimming with the dolphins like area. And so I thought they were going swimming with the dolphins, but then I do not remember them swimming with the dolphins. I don't remember that actually occurring. Correct me if I'm wrong. Did they? Did I miss it? Did I fast forward? I might have fast forwarded through it. But Kenneth is not communicating to Brittany in the way that she needs to be communicated to. Mainly because they're on a reality TV show, so there is some amount of talking that you have to do amongst each other. So finally, their boat stops, and they go on the roof of the boat or at the front of the boat, and the poor guy who's driving the boat just has to sit there. Could you imagine? I would be so annoyed. I would not sign up for that job. My job is just to take couples out into the water and watch them canoodle while I sit in the driver's seat waiting for them to be done canoodling. No. So they're laying down and she's just like, "Hey, you're not affectionate enough with me. I want more affection." And he's like, "Really? People tell me I'm over affectionate." And we all call bullshit. We all call BS. No one has ever said that to this person. The person that we're seeing right in front of us right now, no one has ever said that to him. Or if they have, it's like 5 years into their relationship because I mean, the only thing that I can think that why he might be doing what he's doing is because they vowed to like not have sex until marriage. Now, I don't know if this is something that they would do normally, if she would do this normally. I don't know if old girl Brittany is a virgin. So I'm just confused as to why they tried to do it with this situation if the reason why they did it was because she doesn't like to have sex right away. And so because in this experiment, there will be an eventual point when they get married, so maybe that'll be a better time to do it. But I can only guess that the reason why he's not all over her is because usually heavy petting or any kind of petting, besides with like teenagers, leads to sex. And or maybe that's just me, because me, I'm like, don't touch me if we're not gonna have sex. Like, it's too much. It leads to that. Like, yes, we can hold hands if we're going on a date, but at the end of the night, they're going to go back to their hotel and sleep in the same space. So, petting throughout the day may not be advisable. And maybe he's just like, listen, I can't do it. She said she wanted to remain pure until the wedding. So, I'm just going to like back up. I'm going to back up from her. But he's backed up too much to the point where he's not talking to her. So she has to tell him that she wants to be touched and she wants like that, those moments of affection and whatnot. And that he doesn't initiate it with her. And he's like, oh, really? I thought I was doing it. Okay. And I was like, you thought you were doing it. Are you doing it when the cameras are off? Or I just don't get it. So they then level set and have that understanding as they walk away from there. Like physical touch is important to her. Then we have the scene, and I believe this happens in Paradise, so I'm gonna say it now because we got to talk about it. Where Clay talks about the fact that his dad cheated on his mom up, down, left, right, AB start. And it almost felt like you shouldn't say that because then we're gonna see your mother, and I don't want to know that about her. I don't want to know that this woman stayed in a relationship with a man who was cheating with on her up and down the block, and then would also take the son on these cheating trips. It feels disgusting, and I don't wanna meet him, but I know we are, and now we know that his father is an absolute trash bag, and it is quite uncomfortable, and so does AD, and the man is such a trash bag, and Clay looks up to him to the point where he doesn't know if he is gonna cheat on AD, and all I can think about is, does cheating just happen to you? Like, do you black out and then cheat? Because to me, cheating takes effort. It's a pattern of behavior. You start to like talk to a woman and like flirt with her and like all of these things. Like, it doesn't just, you don't just walk through a door and then wind up on top of somebody. So, if you know that you might have a situation where you feel like one woman isn't enough, or you don't wanna be in a monogamous relationship, would you then not just talk to AD instead of cheating? Wouldn't, if you know that that is your you're worried about it because you feel predisposed to that behavior, would you not just stop the behavior, and or if you feel yourself doing this thing, then just like back out of it and then come home and tell your wife, I was this close, I started flirting with a girl and I really wanted to have sex with her without caring about how you felt about it or your safety. So I think that we should break up. I feel like that's what feel like that's well, that's how you remedy that situation. So it just felt really weird. And so AD is just like softly chewing on a plantain and is like, okay. Now, then he, like a server, cleans up the dishes in front of them. And she's looking at him like, "What are you doing?" And I'm glad she didn't say anything because I was confused why she was confused. When I saw him cleaning up the dishes the way the server would do, because that's what I do. When I'm finished eating, I gather all the things and make it very easy for the server to come pick up. And she seemed confused about that behavior, and I didn't know why, and I wanted more information because don't let me find out that AD is not good when she goes to restaurants. I'm not saying you have to do that. I'm saying that if you know, you know. And then if you see someone doing it, to side eye them is weird. And that's what I felt like she was doing. And it was weird because the camera, they edited that in. You guys, they don't have to edit things in. They leave things in and they edit these things in a certain way. So whenever I see the camera pointedly looking at somebody or focused in on someone when they're doing something or having a facial expression, it's because the person who's edited it and the producers want us to know that this thing is occurring. And I was just the teensy tiniest bitties confused with. Were we not? Okay, so then we go back to the real world. They go back to Charlotte, and everybody sees each other's apartments and homes. And I thought it was really cute. So they see each other's living spaces, and for everybody's living spaces were clean. I was happy for them. I was like, good. Before you leave, you clean up your apartment because they didn't know folks were coming back unless once they got their phones back, they were like, hey, get somebody to my house and clean up right now. That's what I would do. I'm like, someone go into my apartment immediately and clean it. Um, but so everybody's apartments were clean because they did have like a place for them to stay. So I liked looking at people's apartments. Jimmy thought that Chelsea's roommate was too much, and he's like definitely not living there. And then we go to his like small studio apartment, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna be at work all the time. So I hope you can hide if I'm on a phone call." And so she's like, uh-huh, uh-huh. And so then they go to the place that they're gonna like cohabitate in. And it's all basically the same structure, the place that they're all cohabitating in. We go to AD's house, and then we see Clay's home. Clay has purchased a home. So I was like, okay, good. So he's interested in having her move in there because he's like, I really want a woman's touch. And AD is like, I'm great. I'm glad I don't see a woman's touch in here. And so I like that. But she was like, oh, this is cute. This is nice. Like I can see us fixing this part up. And then we've got Jeremy's apartment and Laura's apartment. And Jeremy's apartment is sparse and spick and span the way he described that it would be. And I feel like Laura at this point wants to find something wrong with Jeremy. Laura is not made for this show. She's made for this show and the fact that she's like a shit stirrer and she is a strong woman, but she has a very odd way of showing her like or love for somebody. And it's not odd. It's a way that I think that society has built most men to feel like this shouldn't be what I deal with. Like most not most, I don't know this to be true, but I've had guy friends who I've asked questions to. Like, I'm like, oh, if do you like it when a girl is like quick banter with you and like can poke fun at you? And they're like, no. So there's something with the ego that doesn't allow that to happen. Now, I'm not saying that, women are like okay with men poking fun at them, but I am somebody I'm always going to go for the joke, always. And it'll be at your expense. It will be at your expense. It may not be in public, it'll be privately, like, whatever. But if you can't handle that, if you can't handle this wit, then I'm not the one for you. Now, I think Laura's jokes are mean though. Laura is mean. When she got around her family, she acted a fool in my mind. Um, but we'll get there. So she was commenting on everything in his home. She opened up his drawers to look at his cutlery, and girl, Jeremy and I have the same cutlery. It is the exact same. He got it on Amazon. We have the same butter knives, spoons, and forks. And listen, I love gold. And everything in that kitchen was gold. And I was here for it. And I loved how clean it was. Now, it wouldn't remain clean if I were there because unfortunately, kitchens get destroyed when I'm around. But I liked it. And it felt like she should be super happy. And she's like, in her little confessional, she's like, it is really clean in here, like serial killer clean. And I'm like, you can't have it both ways, baby. You spent so much time telling him about icks and dirty homes and things that you don't like. And this person says, I have a clean ass home. And then he does. And you're saying it's serial killer like. It is just really, really too much. It's really, it's a lot. It's a lot. And I think she's somebody who doesn't understand that at some point when you are getting in a relationship or getting married to somebody, that they're not going to be perfect. And there are certain things that you are just going to have to accept and certain things that you are just going to have to be like, that is my person, but I'm choosing to buckle down with this person at this moment in my life. So really interesting. You know what I also thought? I was at brunch today and one of my friends said that the newer generation is probably going to have more than one marriage in their lives and it'll be normal because folks are living longer. They'll live longer because of technology and advancements in science and health, but also because they may not have the same idea that marriage is forever. That your marriage might only last 10 years. It might only last 5 years. It might, it might only last 15, 20 years. And then after that, you're still a person to be loved and wanting to then have the next phase of your life with somebody different. And I thought that actually sounded quite great. I think if I I think if some people if we let go of the idea that marriage had to be forever, your forever person until the day you died, for everyone, then maybe people would be feel less constricted in a marriage. And if we change the way that we think about relationships and monogamy and whatever that means, like things will be different. So I'm interested to stay alive for this new chapter of humanity. But anywho, so Laura, she's got issues. Now we go back to Chelsea and Jimmy, and Chelsea cannot handle Jimmy and his working life. She is very, very insecure and it is getting on my nerves. So she's wearing like a velvet navy blue top, some black pants and some sandals, and her friends come over and she can't walk like a normal person to them. She like the same way she like ran to him when they came out of the pods and saw each other is the same like run that she does to her friends. And I'm like, girl, calm down. It's a lot of emotions running through that body. I also keep thinking that she has a kid somewhere. I don't know why. She gives mom vibes to me. Anywho, so she and her friends go out onto the veranda and they talk about Jimmy, and she tells her friends that he has not kissed her once today. And I just was like, girl, is that true? So why haven't you kissed him? Did you go and kiss him? Uh, Even for like a quick little peck in between meetings or whatever? It just feels like the expectations put on everyone is so high. I mean, he's not as bad as Kenneth. Not that they all know how bad Kenneth is, but it just is like, take a chill pill, sis. Take a chill pill. A lot of these folks are having a hard time managing the life they had before they came back with a fiance and the life that they have now after they have a fiance. And again, it makes me question whether or not these people signed up for this show fully understanding what may happen in their lives after they were done with it. And so it's interesting. Um and I don't know what it's like to have a job that you can't just like call somebody real quick and say hey, or that you can't step away and like, give someone a kiss. I don't know what that's like. So who knows if she was there the whole day? Who knows what the situation was? But girls are giddy. They want to see the ring, and then Jimmy comes downstairs and he talks with them. And I was I was waiting for her to put him on the spot a little bit, and I don't think that she did. I think she put him on the spot afterwards, which was a whole blow up. So afterwards, the friends leave, and she's like, "You haven't kissed me today, babe. Like, you don't make me feel like you love me. Like, I want more of you. Like, I want you to tell me I'm pretty. Like, I want." And it feels needy. It feels needy. And so then she's like pushing him to talk, and he says that she's clingy, which she got so upset that I was like, "Oh, is that bad?" Because she is clingy. She's needy. I don't know if she's clingy, she's needy. And if that's what you need, I get it, but it feels like it's coming from a place of insecurity, not from a place of like, "That's just my love language, is the words of affirmations," or whatever it is. And she gets so upset. It's like he called her a dumb bitch. That's how bad she gets upset. And I, again, was a little confused. Because I was like, he's just trying to explain to you. Now, if that hurts your feelings, that's fair. But the way she made him sound and seem is like he was a bad person who called her a ugly feminist, and that it was just so rude. And I'm like, what did I hear something wrong? Because you in fact are clingy or needy. And so she's like, "I'm leaving. Like, I don't want to do it." Blah, blah, blah." And he immediately feels bad, but he's like, "I'm telling you the truth. Like, this is how I feel right now. And you need a lot from me right now. And I just don't understand why nothing is good enough. Like, could you imagine? I don't want to be in a situation where someone is constantly critiquing me. Now, I know that this is an accelerated program, so they have to. But the truth is like, once they get married, or if they get married, you've got at least a couple of years to figure each other out. You do. You really do. And if you don't wanna move forward with it because that person isn't giving you everything you need in the first 4 weeks of knowing you, then maybe you shouldn't be a part of this experiment. Because I don't think it's fair to expect people to automatically jump in and treat you like they've known you for 5 years when they haven't. And maybe you don't have a thing every single day that they've done wrong to make you feel insecure, so that they can accelerate it or speed up and get to know you. Like, no, you just have to like wait for those things to happen naturally. I just I just don't get it. So then we've got their blow up. So let's just finish them. So we have their blow up, and then he gets up and leaves, and then the next day they're fine. And they're cutesy baby. And then she's like, "That wasn't cool. Don't leave next time." And he's like, "Well, you say you were leaving, so I'll left." And then I was like, "What happened? Did they have a conversation that wasn't on camera?" Yes, that's what happened. They had a conversation that wasn't on camera. And then they didn't even have the wherewithal or the grace to reenact it for us because we needed to see it. Because the last we saw, she was crying her little eyes out and he was pissed and leaving. And so then she's like, "I'm sorry, babe. Like, I know I'm emotional." And the thing is, though, the reason why she got upset, girl, is because other men have told her that. Other men have told her that 100%. She's not the first time she's heard that. And so then that's why she got upset because she's doing it again. She's doing the needy bit again. And I believe that's where we leave off with them. Tell me if I'm not. So now let's go on to Laura and not Laura, AD. We'll save Laura for last. AD and Clay. So AD and Clay get to the real world, and we have a scene where they are meeting her. Oh, let's get back to Chelsea and Jimmy. So Chelsea and Jimmy, when they go to meet his family or his friends, it is two female friends that he's only known for 2 years. And I was confused again. So they seem to like Chelsea because obviously Chelsea would come off as nice and personable and all those good things. But it struck me as odd that those were the two people that he brought on this experiment. Maybe he couldn't get the rest of his family to come, or maybe he doesn't. I don't know. Maybe he made his new life in Charlotte and is like, I'm not looking back at my family or whatever. I really want to see his parents because we found out that he is the first person from his, lineage to go to college. So I was like, I wanted to meet the folks. I wanted to meet the friends and family. So yeah, we had that moment. And the whole time, you guys, I am trying to eat better, and everyone was just eating French fries, and I just couldn't handle it. I couldn't handle it. I had to get burger and French fries, but I got the kids meal, so less calories. Watching this show is triggering me. There's like copious amounts of alcohol. And sometimes I'm just like, can I just see a glass that's a water glass? Is anyone drinking juice? And then there's copious amounts of good food that I want to eat. So, so now let's get back to AD and Clay. So AD and Clay meet with Clay's family, his sister and his mother. And his mother gives AD the shawl because she's cold. And then they have a little tiff in front of the family because of his work schedule and the fact that he didn't come home one night, which listen, I don't know what it's like, but there was a lot of not coming home in this last segment, right? So we sit here and see Clay's mom, and I need to see this trifling ass dad because I see this sweet black lady who looks like she's a professor at Howard, teaching African American studies or economics. And I just now know that she's been dogged out her whole marriage. She says, I'm going to give you all advice because I was married for 24 years. And I was like, but we don't want your advice, ma'am, because you stayed with a man who cheated on you incessantly, unless you didn't know. But if that's the case, your son knew, and your son didn't tell you anything. Like, Clay is trash. Like, y'all, that story was not a good story to tell. Y'all, he is complicit in his father's extramarital activities. Anywho, so now we all know this lady's business, and she's basically telling these two kids that they just need to work through the things that they can accept and figure out the things that they can't. And it's the schedule. He says that he had to drop off equipment. I guess he must have like a sea-doo business. I don't know if he's dropping off sea-doos to people. It just sounded like he was dropping off boats or like sea-doos. I don't know what he does, but it kept him from home. And she was upset about that. Now we find out that she is a club promoter, which I was like, oh, when I hear that men are club promoters, I'm immediately like, meh. So I was like, AD's a club promoter. She's also a realtor, and she used to be a cheerleader. So like AD is like doing all of the things. Okay. Her family is in Boston, I believe. Or some part of her family is in Boston. I didn't get her ethnic makeup. Did anybody get AD's ethnic makeup? Is she African American? I've seen that. So they have a little tiff about schedules, and he's upset. And the mother's like, well, you have to give grace. You have to give grace. And he's like, I don't get what you want me to do. It's work. It's not like I'm hanging out with the friends. And she's just like, well, can you just come back? And he said, no, I was driving an hour, da, 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 which seems like a stupid hill to die on. Like, I get that it's more convenient to stay somewhere and not have to drive an hour home. But in the process of getting to know your fiance, filming for a television show, just drive home. Like, I don't get why people can't do the thing to make their partner feel comfortable. Do the thing to make your partner feel comfortable, unless they're being absolutely unreasonable. But try. It's not going to be forever. Sure, it's a lot of driving on your part, but you are in a social experiment deciding whether or not you're going to marry somebody. And so maybe in the beginning, before you get married, you should do everything you can and then let them know, like, hey, I've been driving back an hour, but at sometimes I'm going to want to stay. So can you tell me how you feel about that? Like, have that conversation in a civil matter, not in a way of like, well, I'm a grown ass man. This is what I've been doing. This is my job. So, like, why you have a problem with it? She has a problem with it because A, you're getting to know each other, and B, you're not giving her any of that money. so, so why would you be okay with it? So I just, yeah, I think grace needed to be given, but it's like people don't want their lives to change at all. It has to change a lot. Again, you signed up for a show with an accelerated love program situation happening. Like, it just doesn't make sense. It just really doesn't make sense to me. Um, so then let's cut to Amy and that other one. I don't know. Amy, I don't know what's his name. What's the name? I don't know his name. Oh, Johnny. Amy and Johnny. Now we find out that these two are either not having sex or have only had sex one time because she's not on birth control. So we have a scene where there's a conversation between Johnny and Laura where they talk about the fact that Amy's not on birth control. And so Laura has to kind of break it down to him and is like, yeah, birth control. Yeah, some women are on it, gobble, gobble every month, but a vast majority of women are not and will never be. Me. I got on birth control when I was in college because my cousin told me not to get pregnant. And so I just got on birth control because I was like, just in case, like, I make a stupid mistake, I'm on birth control. Now, after that, I got off of it because I was like, I don't want hormones regulating my body. Like, who knows what it's doing to me? So I was off of it, and I got tried to get on Seasonique, like in 20 maybe 10, and that made me crazy. So after that, I was like, no more hormone type of birth control. And I haven't been on birth control since. Like, it's just not a thing that I'm trying to control, is births. But he's like, it makes me uncomfortable to have sex with you because you're not on birth control. Now, I have run into that in my dating life. This guy was like, "Can you please let me know when you start your period because, like, I've never had sex with somebody." And I was like, "Yeah, but we're using condoms, and that's what we're gonna do. And there's always some risk. So don't worry. I'll help you find it when the time comes. The condom, if whatever." And then he doesn't want to have sex with her because of that. And she's like, "Well, you could get a vasectomy if you don't want to have a kid right now, and which is reversible." And I said, "Go off, sis." I don't understand why men get so weirded out by vasectomies. Why is that? What happens in their brain when someone says vasectomy? You don't want kids, you get a vasectomy. That seems like the thing that makes the most sense to me. So women are the ones that always are having to, like, change our bodies and pump hormones into our and put things in our arms and have coppers in our uterus in order to stop the birth. But, like, there really needs to be someone needs to make a man birth control. I mean, and we need to change society's idea on that 100%. They need to be just as responsible for those things too. But anywho, so she's like, "Well, this is something insurmountable. Like, they're gonna have to have sex at some point, right? Like, what are they gonna do?" I don't know. I know they met each other's parents, but I fast forward through that. But that was their own, like, little piece of drama for that one. Um, but they do need to use, condoms. And so that makes me think that maybe he doesn't want to use a condom. And that's why he's like, we can't have sex. He's probably like, you should be on birth control because I don't like condoms, which are so many men out there roaming this earth right now talking about they don't like the way condoms feel, or they can't orgasm because they're wearing a condom. Like it just so much raw shenanigans is occurring in this world right now with these men. So, mm, 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 mm. Um, okay. So now are you ready for the main event? So we've got Laura and Jeremy. We meet her family, who she's already said that she doesn't want her relationship to be like her parents' relationship because they are simpletons who don't want anything in life. And they just settled with each other and they're boring and bleh. Her dad is like, "You cannot make my daughter feel like a princess because she will run right over you." So her parents think that she's wild and crazy, and she thinks her parents are boring. So at least they both have an opinion about each other. But her brother and her sister-in-law come over, and she then proceeds to, in my mind, throw Jeremy under the bus. She also says that she's smarter than him because she went to a 4-year university and he didn't. And which is really fucking rude to say. Because I think it's admirable that he was able to figure out his life without going the degree route. I think most people, when they do, sometimes they don't. Sometimes people have a hard time with it. So and even just the buffer of 4 years of schooling helps you to like get to know what you want to do in life. But if you immediately just start your career or start planning for like the businesses you're going to do and things like that, I think that's admirable. I think trade schools are admirable too. I think those people are able to just like jump up and start making money earlier than I did. So like I guess I just don't necessarily hold having a 4 year as like the end all and be all. So she says that. And then she's also, "We're in a love triangle." And he's like, "We are not in a love triangle." And she's like, "Yeah, there was another girl there. Tell him, tell him." And so he has to tell them, her family, about something that he shouldn't have to say at all, which shouldn't be brought up at all. So that's why I don't know. And then Laura ends up going also, she actually has a little session with Jessica, who is Jimmy's other person. So like Laura is messy. She is messy, messy, messy to me. But anywho, so they are with the family and he has to, say that and say like what happened or whatnot. And she's just kind of digging at him. And the family's like, I guess they'll be okay. They'll be all right, I guess. And we're all just like, what is she doing? Why does she do that? Does she really like him? Is she pushing his buttons to see how far she can take it? Why is she trying to prove that she doesn't need, I don't know, it's just very weird. You got on this show, sis. If you're not ready for love, truly, if you're not really ready to go to therapy and break down your walls and stop acting like, you need to push everybody away to prove that they love you, like, mm-mm, mm-mm, we're not here for it. Oh, sorry, Lynn J. I do apologize. I do apologize. Okay. So this is Johnny, the guy who doesn't want to wear condoms or doesn't want to have sex with her because she's not on birth control. Okay. They went horseback riding. They like each other. I skipped over their segments. Now we've got AD and we've got Clay. Okay. His father is the one that's a trash bag. She's a club promoter and a real estate broker person. She wants to flip houses and whatnot. He owns a home and he is okay with her moving in. Then we've got Jimmy, who's with Chelsea. And Jimmy is the first person from his lineage to go to a 4-year university. He's really proud of himself. He works from home. Chelsea is so insecure she can't stand it. And she needs him to kiss on her all the time. He called her needy. She started crying. He went home. The next day they were happy go lucky and she ran like a weird animal to her friends. Okay. Then we've got Jessica. Now Jessica and Jimmy had a love connection in the pods, but Jessica has a 10-year-old daughter whom, now I get it, you're close with your kid, but the daughter was like waiting to figure out if they had a husband when she got out of the pods. And so Jimmy chose Chelsea, but he's still wondering about Jessica. And Chelsea chose Jimmy, but she's still wondering about Trevor. Okay. Now we've got Jeremy. Now Jeremy is the one who didn't go to a 4-year, but Laura made some comment about that. She's the one whose parents came over and she completely told her parents, and who she thinks are boring, that Jeremy was in a love triangle with Sarah Ann. Sarah Ann is a quote unquote patriot. Everyone's where was she on January 6th? So then we've got Kenneth. Kenneth is an introvert. He's with Brittany. They both love the Lord. And Kenneth is always on his phone as soon as they got home. Brittany is feeling unloved by Kenneth because he won't touch her. Great. So I forgot about Kenneth and Brittany. So we got to get back to them. But, anyways, so let's just move on to we got to talk about the mic drop later. Okay, so then let's go to them. So now we have a scene where Brittany is sitting in the kitchen and she's like, hey, this isn't working and this is what I'm feeling. And Kenneth is like, well, how long am I going to have to deal with you upset about me not touching you? Because, like, I tried to touch you last night at 1 a.m. when I woke you up in the dead night of your sleep, but you didn't want to. So how long am I going to have to hear that you are frustrated that we don't touch? And the whole time his phone is just in his hand. He's ready to look down at his phone because he doesn't care. So she's like, I'm getting really emotional. And he's like, let me hug you. Y'all, proceeds not to hug her. Gets into his phone, proceeds not to hug her. He then as soon as he realizes that this is about to be over, he starts text messaging his friends like, yeah, I'm about to get out of here. Nah, it's not working. Like, yeah, no, she don't want to be touched. She don't want to be touched. I don't know. Like, he literally just in the calmest way backs out of this relationship with her because he cannot give her what she wants and he doesn't understand why she just can't calm down or something. And he's just like, I don't want to continue to have to tell you that I like you. I don't want to have to continue to tell you that I like you. So either you hear me and you take that for what it is, and when I'm ready to get cuddly with you, it doesn't matter that you were asleep. That is me trying to get cuddly with you, and you weren't interested in that. It sounds like he came home from somewhere lit and then was trying to be like cutie tootie with her. And she's like, you woke me up and you put on all the lights. And he was like, I was quiet. And she's like, yeah, you put all the lights on and woke me up. And I'm like, what is going on? He like immediately goes upstairs and packs his bag. Yes, Denise. He's the one who said to her, I want to talk to you nightly so that we can better understand, I don't know. I don't know what happened to Kenneth because Brittany does not seem as needy and crazy as Chelsea, unless they just didn't show it. So what happened? What happened to Kenneth? That should be the name of that episode. What happened to Kenneth? Because in the pods, he was so different. Did he get weirded out because he's never dated a white woman and so he got to the real world and then felt like he couldn't date her? That sucks if that's what happened. I mean, who knows? Who knows what happened? She is a very lovely, sweet, kind person and she deserves everything. I think she's going to make somebody a really great partner. She's communicative, and for him to do that, I was just really I wasn't into it. I'm gonna tell you right now, I wasn't into it. It was like something bit me on my ankle. I'm always getting bit on my ankle. Anyways, so yeah, I really do agree he did gaslight her. I really do agree that yeah, that he was just in his phone in a crazy way. Oh my god, do you have Mr. Bean over your face, Globe Hopper? That is crazy. That is hilarious and crazy. Thank you. Kenneth is extremely good a communicator, but he used that to run rings around Brittany and confuse her. The Brittany and Kenneth fallout was surprising. It was like a switch had flipped on after the pods. I agree. Renee, he's not into her. Something happened. He got his phone back and he forgot who he was in the pods. I don't know. Something happened though. So that's what ended up happening to them. Okay, can we move on to Laura and Jeremy? Girl, I don't know what happened, but the next day we wake up and we find out that first of all, what we see is Jeremy walking to the house with his sunglasses on and a hat, and he sits on a chair, grabs a pillow, and puts it in his lap. Laura comes downstairs and she sits on the couch and she looks at him and she's just like, "Can you take your fucking glasses off?" And so he does. And it's like, why would he ever think that is appropriate? He takes his sunglasses off. And then she's like, "So what happened?" And "Why'd you come home at 5 a.m.?" And he's like, "Yeah, so what happened is that I went out with the boys, and on the way there was a change in location, and then after that I headed to that way, and then somebody else texted me and they said Sarah Ann's here." Because apparently all of the Potters or the people on the show were hanging out. And I don't know if this was a Love is Blind production sanctioned meetup. And so maybe that's why there weren't cameras there. And maybe that's why Laura wasn't invited. But that happened. And he's like, "So I went, and then Sarah Ann came up to me and said hi, gave me a hug, and then walked off. And I felt like, well, that can't be the end of it. So I went up to her and we started talking." Now, this is hot off the heels. Oh, I forgot to tell you. This is hot off the heels of Sarah Ann DMing him and then him hearting it. And that's the other thing she told her family about him, that he hearted the comment of someone who was in a relation who he was in a love triangle with. And so that really bothered Laura because she's like, "I don't want you to have any kind of connections with her or talk to her ever. She's dead to you." And he's like, "Not, no, that's not what that, no." And he's like, "I accidentally hearted it. What was I supposed to do?" She's like, "Not respond." Now, I don't know, guys. I don't live in this world where like I need to be checking people's DMs and like upset that somebody hearted something. Like some people just don't want to make other people feel bad. That is what I have discovered in this world. And that's not me. I'll make somebody feel bad in a second. But I know that there are people out there who don't like to do that. And maybe Jeremy's one of those people, especially because he had a connection with her in the pods. And if I were Sarah Ann, I would not have sent that DM. But if I wanted to disrupt their lives, I would have. Because I thought that something that he and I had was very real. So I would have just shoot my shot. And that's what she did. And he hearted it. And Laura got upset because she's doesn't want to play second fiddle to anybody, not ever, not even on a whiff, not even on the wings of a bird. Like she doesn't want it at all. And so it just is it's such an awkward conversation now. So he then explains that after the bar left at 2 a.m., he sat in the parking lot and he talked with Sarah Ann for 3 hours. And that's all he did. He's like, "Listen, I put on my location." And she's like, "Yeah, what am I supposed to do with your location when I'm sleeping at 5 a.m.? What am I supposed to do with that? Was I supposed to get up and drive there and find you? Or like, what was I supposed to do with that information?" So he's saying all these dumb things that don't make any sense to her, and they don't make any sense to us either. And she gets him to get caught in a lie. And so then but she already has the information. So she's waiting for him to spin his lie. She asks questions about his lies and then circles back and says something like, "No, actually, your location was in North Charlotte at this time, and that's where she lives. So you went to her place. You went to her place." And then I think he said something like he took her home or something. Like I don't know, I don't know if she's gonna Uber. And like he definitely made out with her. That is disrespectful. He definitely did something with Sarah Ann. 100%. I do not believe for 1 second they were just talking for 3 hours. These two had done enough talking. Not enough talking. Enough. And so did she deserve for him to embarrass her like this? No. And he is shameful in his behavior. It is a shameful ass behavior. He has nothing to say when she catches him in that lie. And it is such a shock. It's such a shock. But as we see in the previews, he's not the only person who does this. There's some drama with Jimmy and Jessica because we find out in one of these episodes I'm talking about, I forgot to say, is that Jimmy has seen a picture of Jessica. I think it's on Instagram. Like she followed him, and then he saw her profile, but then he unfollowed her and then shut his shit down because I guess he felt like it would be disrespectful to Chelsea, which is what it was, and he shouldn't do. And we already know Chelsea's like madly insecure. So obviously she's gonna be like, oh, you like her more than you like me. She looks better than me. And apparently Jessica, because we found this out because Jessica and Laura were talking. And to me, it feels like Laura should be on Chelsea's side, but she's not. She's with her girl Jessica, and she's like, yeah, I looked at his Instagram, and every girl that Jimmy dates looks like me. Let me get these pictures for you, Lynn J. So Laura and Jessica go out and are basically wearing the same outfit. Then they talk about Jimmy and they talk about Chelsea, because Jessica is a part of their love triangle or whatever. So they're going back and forth, just kind of talking about the experiment. And Jessica then tells Laura about Jimmy's profile and how, he usually dates women who look like her, not women who look like this. And so she's like, I would like to meet him, but it feels like it wouldn't be, right. But also, like, we got along so well in the pods. Like, I don't think it's over. And then she goes out and she has her little confessionals with the camera, and she's like talking to the producers, and she's like, you see it, you saw it, you know what it's about. And I was like, oh. At this point, though, I kind of want her to be with Jimmy because Chelsea is too much. Chelsea should just get with Trevor. Now, there is some Love is Blind drama. Let's see who sent it to me and where did I find it. And let me tell you, my nail lady told me. I did not even know, girl. My nail lady sent me this tea. She was talking, and she doesn't even watch the show. So I was telling her, and she's like, did you know that people were already married? Apparently, Matthew, full on fiance, like just broke up with his fiance before he joined this group. Okay. Let's see. So this one is from a TikToker called You Guys Story Time with Ricky. So it sounds like Matthew broke up with the girl since he's been with 2022 and broke with her 2 weeks before the show aired. Crazy person. Something happened with Jimmy too. Jimmy doing the most as well. Let's see what happens. He went to film the show, and I have receipts. Been dating this girl since 2022, and he broke up with her 2 weeks before the show aired. Now, I know y'all love Teddy Bear Trevor, so before you hop in my comments and say this is not true, let me show y'all the receipts. Because they undeniable. Okay, so these are time-stamped. We're going to start here. March 4th, 2023. Love is Blind filmed March 25th, 26th, 20. Oh, I messed that up for you guys. Anyway, so Trevor is bad too. Trevor is doing a lot as well. So yeah, there is some sneaky behavior. Yep. It's officially Married at First Sight, and it's officially The Bachelor. Cannot be trusted. So yeah. That's what happened, y'all. I talked for a full solid hour. A little less because I didn't start until 5 minutes and 30 minutes, but 5 minutes and 30 seconds. But yeah, that is it, you guys. So thank you so much for joining me. Prepare yourselves because Seeking Sister Wife is coming back, and I will be doing that show. And then 90 Day Fiance Happily Ever After. Oh God, it's hard to do 90 Day Fiancés because of the podcast. It's hard to do it. So I'm trying to think, what else can I talk about? Someone told me to watch Couple Therapy. Who was it? Was it Dedria? And then I went to Peacock and I didn't see Couples Therapy. I saw Couple to Thruple. So am I wrong? I don't know. Do I want to watch Couple to Thruple? Kinda. Trevor's ex has all the tea. She has texts from right before they took Trevor's phone, right after he got back. He even tells her that he's going to come out looking great on TV. Ooh. Oh, yeah. I did hear about Mahmoud. Mahmoud was arrested on domestic violence, y'all. That's no good. That's no good. So we don't have any details yet. At least I don't have any details, but that is no good. Oh, couples therapies on Showtime. Yeah, I don't have that. I don't have Showtime. I can't have everything. Okay. I don't have Showtime. I don't have Apple TV. Okay. But what I do have is Prime, Paramount Plus, Peacock, Netflix, Max, and World of Wonder for all the RuPaul's Drag Race shenani, and Hulu. So, hey. So if it ain't on Hulu or if it ain't on them 7 things, and I also have Stars, and like Masterpiece Theater, like I got a lot. I can't get any more. I can't get any more. Okay, I cannot get any more. All right, you guys, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you again for coming back to my channel. If you at all had the hee hee ha ha's while watching this, you can go on ahead and give your girl a tip. Otherwise, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, share with any friends should you want to. Let them know that I'm here doing the Kiki on Love is Blind. Otherwise, you guys have a fantastic day. Remember to be you, be true, and find your place. Bye. Jump in the line, rock your body on time. Okay, I believe you. Jump in the line.